Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so I seem to have found my footing here a little bit after the election. You know, sometimes for a channel like mine that's heavily focused on politics, well, after a big major political event, like a general election, there tends to be a little bit of a lull period where you're sitting there and you don't really know what to do or where to go. All of a sudden, it feels like the news cycle comes to a halt, and so guys like me need to pivot a little bit. Well, I mean, not a full pivot, but kind of, I guess, be a little bit more flexible in the content. And it's obvious what the choice is, and I think I've found my flow here. It's time to put a little bit less focus on politics and more focus on culture. And as we know, as the old saying goes, politics is downstream from culture. And so I found this flow in my video making process where I have these videos that pop up on my timeline that I think create the perfect basis, the perfect foundation for important, frankly, in some cases, especially this case, needed cultural discussion. And so that's been the flow lately. That's been the pivot. But of course, it's all going to come back to politics in some way, like it always does. But I'm really enjoying these videos. I got something to show you guys today. And of course, let's have a conversation. We got some stuff to get into. So let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so we got this clip here of a street interview where a young individual tries to photobomb the interview, and then take a look at what happened.
In my mind, then it'd be okay.
Hey, Metsman 2024 gang, hey, what's up with you?
Why are you speaking like a black rapper? Act your age. You sound like a fool. Carry yourself well. You're a young man.
Thank you.
You're a young man. Carry yourself with pride.
Yeah.
Speak articulately. Don't speak like that. Pull up your pants.
Okay.
You're a good-looking guy. You have a bright future ahead of you. All right? My name's Aldo. That's okay. Hey, don't be embarrassed. Be an articulate young man and carry yourself with pride, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one, man. God bless you.
Good dude. You're good, man.
No, you're right.
You're good. That's a good one.
He said I just got embarrassed.
As he should be. But that's okay. We make mistakes when we're kids.
You know, sometimes a little 30-second clip or a little moment like this can end up hitting pretty hard. Certainly a lot harder than you might have thought upon first glance. And that's essentially what I felt I witnessed in that clip. It wasn't just a simple exchange or interaction between two people, but rather a clash between two cultural mindsets. You know, in my view, in a lot of ways, youth culture tends to do this, at least in the worst spaces of youth culture. You see the embodiment of the decay of certain cultural standards. I guess in a way, how the teenagers act essentially reflects on us and how we're doing as role models. And you know what? It feels not so great. It feels like we've come so far technologically and economically, but socially, not so much. It feels like in this rush to quote-unquote progress, we've kind of dismantled the old ways. And in the process, we've lost something crucial. One word, 5 letters, class. Respect for tradition, and I'd say in general the pursuit of excellence. We simply don't have the same class and cultural standards and traditions like we used to. We don't have the same respect, and not just respect for other people, but frankly I'd call it self-respect. I mean, we see it every day in our media, how the worst of society seems to be justified and frankly also glamorized. You know what it really feels like is the liberal view or the liberal world run amok. This liberal secular worldview gone bad. As left-wing ideology has taken over popular culture, this idea that there should be no judgment or that all cultures are made equal, let's call it cultural relativism. It seems like the naive left-wing thinking that has overtaken our popular culture, at least over the last 20 years or so, has led to this environment of steep societal decay. I mean, this will put it into perspective.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5, pull up your pants. Walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. Number 4 now is the N-word. Respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids they're acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues.
I mean, could you imagine Don Lemon saying that today? Never, because saying that wouldn't be culturally acceptable on the left. The progressive ideology that has dominated our media and institutions has simply drifted too far, and common sense things like pull your pants up and speak frickin' English have become unacceptable racist standards. The left has created a culture of rebellion against values. They celebrate vulgarity and have essentially demonized shame rather than demonized bad behavior, and it seems to have skewed our moral compass. I mean, just think about how fast things have changed. Just look at our recent ancestors.
But also as a parent of 2 children who I hope will grow up with those qualities of vigor and energy which we identify with the best of America. This should be a matter of concern to us all, field. That is, they will concern themselves with the education of their children, with the physical development of their children. All of us will participate in the life around us, and in so doing, we'll be better citizens and happier ones.
I mean, the pride that the previous generations took in how they spoke, how they dressed, how they carried themselves, how they interacted with people in their community, the music they listened to, the culture they enjoyed. And now compare that to today's viral trends and this generation that's been created through left-wing Hollywood influence and the failing public Democrat schools. You know, again, going back to the initial words, cultural decay. We went from young high school kids dressing classy, grooming themselves nicely, speaking well, earning an honest living at a young age. We went from that culture to what we see today, dressing like a 2-bit thug with that same damn broccoli haircut or Edgar haircut. These mindless, shameless drones who half the time can't even speak English. And I'm not talking about foreigners. I'm talking about American-born teenagers who spend 99% of their time on TikTok and learn absolutely nothing in these Democrat-failing public schools. You know, what happened to valuing education, to respecting yourself and respecting others? You know, sometimes a little bit of social shame, let's call it societal peer pressure, is a good thing, especially if it's aiming in the right direction. There needs to be a cultural shift, because I'm just looking around, honestly, at what current day American society is producing, and I'm thinking to myself, where are we going with this as a society? Like, what's the end game here? At the end of the day, it's not about being judgmental or pretentious, looking down on people who don't lift their pinky up as they're sipping their tea. No, it's about basic survival. Without a strong culture of excellence, well, how can America stay on top as a world-leading global superpower? How can the nation continue to compete in a world that demands excellence, discipline, and innovation if we continue down this path of dumbing down our society? Even some of our adversaries, in some ways, are getting it right. They're churning out engineers, scientists, entrepreneurs who are innovating and reshaping industries in their country. And meanwhile, we're stagnating and raising a generation of TikTok fools. Oh yeah, no cap, bruh. Oh yeah, that's tough, bruh. Speak frickin' English. What is so difficult? It's time to wake up. It's time to snap out of it. A dumbed-down society is an endangered society. We're living in a world that's only getting smarter and more competitive. We simply cannot afford to be the ones falling behind. It's either we start having the conversation and rise to the occasion, or we succumb to our selfish desires and succumb to mediocrity. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Just an interesting video that I saw, and what followed was essentially what was on my mind. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.